Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls listening from all around the world, I present to you number 42, Barry Church.
Alrighty, shoot, yeah. Thanks for joining us again, Barry. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing, man. Now that I heard my intro, man, the day is going to be good. The day is going to be great.
Yeah, buddy. Yes, sir. Did you like the bye week as a player, and what was your favorite bye week that you ever did?
Oh, man, I loved it. I'm not going to lie. I loved it as a player. I mean, you got to rest, to relax, and you get to watch some football because you're usually glued to the film study for other teams, but you get to watch and really see what's going on out there. But my favorite bye week, man, I would have to say it was back when I was young, probably like either my rookie year or my second year, because I was getting no playing time. You know, I was on the special team, so I didn't really have to worry too much about making sure my body was right. You know, I was young and the joints were good. So, you know, I was getting after it. As a young NFL player, you know, I was traveling a little bit my rookie and then my second year. But other than that, once I had to start ball, you know, it was kind of just rest and relax during the bye week. But those younger days, man, yeah, I used to get after it during the bye week.
So where'd you guys go? What made it so great?
We used to travel a lot, so, you know, we would either hit up the Cabo a little bit or, you know, we're somewhere where it's warm and toasty, but those younger days, man, I could go on a flight and spend 48 hours not sleeping somewhere and just getting it in, you know, constantly, and then coming back on Monday like, you know, nothing ever happened. If I were to try that, you know, later on in my career, I mean, I'll be hurting for the next, you know, 4 weeks. You know, I'd be on IR for 4 weeks if I tried that. But when I was younger, man, the sky was the limit.
You'd be on the injury report listed with a hangover, questionable for the remainder of the season.
They'd say food poisoning, right?
Yeah, food poisoning.
Yeah, without a doubt. They would mark it as food poisoning, without a doubt.
Illness related. Barry, I mean, later on in your career, when you're a captain, you know, you're one of the leaders of the defense, and you knew the experience going to Cabo and having fun as a youngster. Does that end up getting a little bit concerning? Do you have to play the leadership role and kind of talk to the young guys like, all right, let's make sure we're not getting ourselves in trouble during the bye week?
Without a doubt, you know, Garrett had his whole, you know, leadership committee, and, you know, before the bye, we was, you know, the 8 of us would stand up in front of the team and tell everybody, you know, how to, you know, do their thing, you know, make sure you're getting rest and relax, and, you know, don't be afraid to click the film on. But we all knew it was going in one ear and out the other. Like, guys were halfway out of the parking lot in Valley Ranch back in those days when we started this meeting. You know, everybody else they were getting ready to hit the road, and we knew it was just lip service that they were telling us, yeah, Church, we got you, man. We're going to lock in during this bye week. We all knew it was lip service. I mean, but when you're young, I mean, shoot, you know, that's how it goes.
Barry, the big thing going on right now is the running back situation with Pollard and with Zeke. And I just want to know from a locker room perspective, I always say this, that players know who the players are. They know, you know, and coaches will try and play guys and stuff like that, but the players know who should be playing. Is this a situation where the players are thinking like, man, Pollard needs to be playing in this situation?
You know, if it was any other locker room and any other guy, I would say yes. Like, they would feel like, you know, hey, Pollard needs to get his touches here and there. But the kind of leader and the kind of, you know, locker room presence that Zeke presents, I feel like each and every one of those guys in that locker room, similar to when Dak, you know, was gone for 5 weeks and Cooper Rush was playing well. You know, everybody in that locker room knows whose team it is and knows who's that backfield it goes through. And then to me, in my opinion, it's still Zeke. You know, they still understand what Zeke brings to the table. He tenderizes that defense. He brings them down until, you know, Pollard comes in and able to hit the pop, you know, the big one. So to me, I feel like everybody in that locker room, they understand, you know, where that ball should go and who deserves the most carries out there. And to me, I still feel as though they believe Zeke is that guy. He's that bell cow player. And then here comes, you know, Tony Pollard to hit the home run. You know, they have a great thunder and lightning combo they got going on right now. And I think the touches for Pollard are right in that sweet spot. Anywhere between, you know, 14 and 16 touches in a variety of different ways, I think you're going to get the most out of Pollard. Once you start getting into that 20, 25 realm, I think he'll start to wear it down and you won't see the same back week in and week out. So I feel like they got a great mixture going on right now, and they should stay as it is.
What was it like when DeMarco Murray left in 2014?
It was, you know, it was definitely a little sad because that dude, he was balling at a different level that year. Now, granted, that offensive line was probably one of the best offensive lines in the history of the National Football League, so he had some lanes to run through, but that dude was a bell cow back and would run through your soul. And as a defense, we understood that he's going to wear these guys down. He's going to get that time of possession in our favor, and it's going to let our defense get rested, and then we're going to be able to go out there and perform at a high level. So once he left, yeah, we had McFadden, we had some other guys out there, but that bell cow back, that guy that just tore down defenses and let us rest on the sideline while he's doing work, we knew that was gone. And as you've seen in 2015, we took a huge drop.
Barry Church with us here on The Fan. Now, allegedly, Tony Pollard, after his big run, came to the sidelines and was like, yo, I'm done. I'm done for the rest of the game, huffing and puffing. Have you ever seen or heard a player do something like that?
I've seen it happen when a guy is balling out of control in that first half and he's getting all these, whether it's a whole bunch of tackles and an interception or he's running the ball crazy or catching the ball crazy. I've seen where guys are like, man, look, if I go on the second half out there, I might mess up the great day I'm having, especially on the defensive side of the ball. As a guy in the secondary, if you get an interception or a forced fumble or make a miraculous play early in the game, you're like, shoot, I don't want to go back out there and kind of mess my stats up. So I've seen it happen before, but never at the running back position. Usually those guys are like, man, feed me the rock even more. But he had an outstanding day. Paula had an outstanding day, 14 carries, 131 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's a workload, and, he deserved a little break from that.
It's Barry Mother Effin Church with us here on 105.3 The Fan and the GBag Nation. Now, Barry, your former teammate Des Bryant said he thinks this is the best Cowboys team since the Super Bowl days. Obviously he joined the team in 2010. Would you agree with that? You think this is better than some of the teams you had there in 14 and 16?
Oh, man, 16, we were legit, man. Like 14, we were good. We had DeMarco, we had Romo and Dez at the top of their powers, but 16, man, we had a solid defense. We created takeaways, and then that offense, like I said, that offensive line was at the heights of its powers. I mean, we could run through anybody. I mean, when it came to the playoff situation against Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay in that divisional round, I mean, if it wasn't for us defensively giving up that, whole bunch of touchdowns in the first half, we would still be kicking their butt to this day. But to me, that 16 team, I mean, it was pretty legit because we followed that formula, which was lean on that ground game, lean on Zeke, and make sure he takes up all the time of possession. And we as a defense would come out there fresh and ready to go. Like there was nobody on the defense that was tired. So to me, our offensive line was better in 16. Dak is better now than he was in 16, but he wasn't a slouch in 16. And I think Zeke was better in 16 than he is now. So, and you still had Des Bryant out there. You still had Terrence Williams. So I feel like the wide receiver unit was better than it is now. So to me, defensively, they got us because defensively, Parsons and those guys, they're flying out of control right now. So they got us defensively. But overall, I think we were a better team in 16.
Barry, when you come off a bye and you got a mid-season bye here with the Cowboys, are there things that defensive coaches, coordinators, or offensive coaches do game plan wise as far as, hey guys, we didn't show them this the first 8. This is something we're gonna. Do you work on things like that, or is it just you try and hone in on the things that you've been really, really good at the first 8?
Well, definitely the coaching staff, they do like a self-scouting. So they'll go out there, they'll see what, gave us problems defensively, gave us problems offensively. And we'll go out there as a starting defense against our starting offense and kind of show them those looks and vice versa. They'll show us the looks that gave us trouble. So you definitely do a little bit of self-scouting there. And you understand what you've done well and you want to build upon that, but you definitely want to make sure all those Band-Aids or all those cuts that kind of gave you troubles offensively and defensively, you go over. So the entire bye week, those coaches, they're in there. They're working and self-scouting and making sure they have everything sewn up for the rest of this run. And hopefully that's what this coaching staff is doing now.
Barry, as you talk about self-scouting, I wonder what your assessment is of CeeDee Lamb through the first half of this year as he's been a number 1 for the first time without Amari. And we've talked about, look, CeeDee's been good, but maybe attacking the ball in the air. Like, that's my football. And you played with Des Bryant, who was an alpha, and being a former safety. When you watch CeeDee Lamb play, how do you think he's progressed and coming along?
I think he's progressing well. I think he's playing good. There is some inconsistencies when you talk about catching the football, but once he has the football in his hand, I think he's playing well. He's starting to get that swagger about him. You see, when he's getting first down, he's starting to do that snotty nose more and more often. And I think, with the presence of Dak back in the lineup, I think CeeDee will elevate his game much more. The only thing that I would have to say that he needs a little bit of work on is the body language. I feel like, when things aren't going great or there's a drop pass here and there or, the quarterback may not put it exactly where he wants it and it's incomplete, you see that kind of, oh, man, like, oh, here we go again. Like, especially when Cooper Rush was in the building and we saw that Philadelphia game. I feel like every pass that, he didn't catch or wasn't right on the mark and it was an incompletion, that body language it just kind of bothered me a little bit. Because, I played with Des Bryant. I played, with a couple alpha dog receivers out there. And even if things weren't going that way, they kind of all put it on my shoulders. Like, or they all put it on their shoulders. Like, oh, that was not bad. That was not bad. I don't see that quite yet from CeeDee Lamb. And granted, he's a young receiver still, very young and very up and coming. So maybe that'll come over time. But to me, that's the only thing that really stood out to me, like that body language when things aren't going right. You still have to keep that chin up. You still have to keep that great demeanor. So the rest of the guys looking behind you, the rest of that wide receiver unit, see that everything is going to be okay. But I think that'll develop over time.
We're scoring so many points against Chicago, Barry. Do you feel like the offensive outburst is a sign of things to come or something the Cowboys really only do against bad teams?
I still need more. That was a small sample size against a defense that was one of the worst against, the run game. So to me, I need to see a bigger sample size. I need to see this team go against a team that's legit defensively and go out there and still put up these points. If the run game's not working, let me see Dak Prescott and this wide receiver unit go up there and put up points, or vice versa. So I understand, they did their duty. They went out there and played great ball. The defense didn't play their greatest of games, but the offense ended up coming out there and providing a lot of points for this team. But I need to see a bigger sample size, and I believe we will with this upcoming stretch. I think against the NFC North. I mean, I think they got, Green Bay. They got a Minnesota team coming up, and then, of course, Philly down the road. So you need to see a little bit more sample size, but I feel like they're on their way.
Barry, when as a former safety and having to cover your share of tight ends throughout your career, what are you seeing with Ferguson and Hendershot as far as their games as a safety? How would you evaluate how you would have to play against those guys?
I'll tell you what, man. I would have fought, Ferguson and Hendershot. Hendershot, he looks like he got a little bit of wiggle to me. So I definitely would have respected his route running ability. When it came to run blocking, I probably, no lie, would have ran right through him. But when you talk about, pass catching out there, he got a little bit of wiggle. For me, the surprise was Ferguson, because I thought for sure, after looking at him in camp, looking at him here and there, I'm thinking, okay, he's a blocker. He's an inline guy, straight line guy. He has no wiggle to him. But he's starting to show me, man, he's a better receiver than I thought, especially in that Philadelphia game. He caught that flat route, put it over to one guy's head, made a couple guys miss, and he's in the end zone. I mean, this guy has shown a lot of wiggle to me. He's a better blocker to me than Hendershot and Schultz. So he's showing me promise, man, and I respect what he's doing out there. Both of these rookies, they're doing a heck of a job out there underneath Schultz. So to me, this tight end group has an opportunity to be a real force out there as they continue to grow.
Cowboys traded for big Jonathan Hankins. Was that enough at the deadline, or do you think they needed to make another move, bring in a receiver or some other position?
I would have loved for them to, bring somebody in offensively, especially at the receiver position. Because to me, no disrespect, but, CeeDee Lamb, I feel like the only guy that can go out there and consistently beat man-to-man coverage. Like if something were to happen, let me knock on wood, but if CeeDee Lamb were to go down, I'm not so sure. You got, Michael Gallup still recovering from that ACL, Noah Brown, and then, a couple rookies here and there. I just don't know who you would go to. Like, who would be that go-to receiver? Like, all right, I need a 3rd and 8 right now. Let me make sure I hit this guy. If CeeDee Lamb were to go down, I'm not sure who you turn to. So I would love for them to have had a receiver lined up. I heard about the Brandon Cooks thing. Not sure how that all went down, but he would have been a pleasant add to this offense. But overall, I like what they did with Hankins. He should be able to stuff the run out there, or at least keep those offensive linemen from getting to the second level, from getting to LVE, Anthony Barr, those down safeties, letting those guys go sideline to sideline and downhill a lot easier. But like I said, I would have loved for them to add something offensively. But hopefully, they're happy with what they got out there.
By the way, Barry, we really appreciate you actually knocking on the wood there. A lot of people think it's okay to just say it.
Yeah.
No, you got to knock on it, man. It makes it real, man. If you don't do that, you might as well not even say the saying.
That's
Talk
right.
the talk, walk the walk. Barry Church with us here in the GBag Nation. Speaking of receivers, okay, Tyreek Hill is just dominating the sport right now. Did you ever play against him?
Yeah, I did actually. Let's see. Yeah, in 2018, I played with him against them in Jacksonville, and it was a whole thing. You know, Ramsey versus Tyreek Hill. Ramsey talking and stuff, saying he's only a return man. He's not a real receiver. And you know, to give Ramsey credit, he kind of shut him down a little bit. Only held him to about 60 yards, but that dude's a freak, man. I mean, just imagine covering that type of speed.
Yeah.
It's unimaginable, man. I would hate to have to go out there on an island against that dude. He makes guys look foolish.
When you think about fast guys you played against and covered, is he the guy that comes to mind, or is it somebody else?
He's to me, he's that guy. I've never seen a faster human being on the football field. Like, we've had guys that are track guys on the field, no running a straight line as fast as Usain Bolt. But when it comes to getting in and out of your breaks and starting and stopping, you know, they're looking more like 4.7 guys. With this guy, I mean, he runs a 4.2 on the track and he runs a 4.2 on the football field. Like, him coming in and out of his breaks, it's unmatched, dude. I mean, this dude is a freak of nature, and his ability to accelerate, man, it's just out of this world. Like, he eats people's angles alive, man. This dude, he's special for sure.